Hello there, and welcome to another Commodore 64 playthrough. This time I've chosen to play through Ace, or the Air Combat Emulator. What a great game this is. Without further ado, let's crack on. So, when you embark on an Ace mission, what it essentially is it's a flight simulator with a bit of combat thrown in for good measure. So you've got all these different options here, so you can set your skill level, which in this case is 2. There's a training mode, which is 1. Your crew, which you can be just one person or 2 people. And if you play it in 2-player mode, one person flies the plane, the other person operates all the guns and does all the firing, which is very exciting. And then the weather settings. So, for example, we've got summer, night, and winter. I don't know why it lets you pick that. It's just a cosmetic thing, but it's quite nice as well. Great. So let's get on with this. So let's start the game. So it gives you an option of what weapons you want to do. So there's 4 things basically you can do in the game. You can fire at aircraft, you can fire things at the ground, you can fire things in the sea, or you can do the whole lot, which is what the multi-role is. So for this save, I'm going to select 3, which is the ground attack. And so here we are, we're on our little runway. So the first thing you do is you use the space bar and you increase your thrust to maximum. And when it gets to about 140-ish, you pull back on the joystick and off you go. Here we go. And then press U to get the wheels down. So that's the first part of the job done. Great. And it should now change to flight mode. Yeah, so there we are. So as you can see, you've got your terrain in front of you. You've got your thrust and your fuel. You've got a little heads-up display thing there. On the right-hand side, it tells you information about what you're doing. So it has refueling, or if there's any enemies there, or if you're in enemy territory. You've got your sort of rear view, if you like, there. If I press F1, I can change the type of weapons that I want to use. So I want to use air to ground. And then you've got your plane's elevation, and then your speed, altitude, your score, and so on. Now, if you press the M for mother button, you get to see a little map, and I'm after the ground forces, so I'm heading straight for them. So to get the ground forces, you want to go to about 3,000 on your altitude, and then slow down to about 500. So I'm just going to slow down a little bit. Okay, that's about right. You can tell we're in enemy territory, but if you're above 3,000, they'll fire on you. And if you're below 3,000, then they won't. Then you'll see the individual units. That's great. The controls are very sensitive with this game, so you've got to be really careful. So I'm just going to look now for blips on my little map in the middle, and then I should be seeing enemies anytime now. So the first blip has just come on, that little grey box. So I'm just moving, and I'm assuming it's that dot in the screen. It'll soon reveal itself. Okay, and then it's fired a missile, so I've done that. So I fired one of my missiles, and now I'm going to fire a flare. And then that flare got rid of the missile, so that was 2 things as well. So I need to just turn around a little bit. You've got to be really careful when you turn around that you don't change your altitude. It's quite tempting, especially on a joystick. I tend to use the keys on a controller rather than the joystick itself. I save the joystick for when you do air-to-air combat, so I'm just seeing if there's any enemy aeroplanes in the vicinity. There isn't, so that's cool. It's a great little game, this. As you heard, there's speech synthesis, which is very groundbreaking for the time. It's also quite smooth in its operation. Yes, fair enough. It's not 50 frames per second, but it's quite realistic. It's also a very open-ended game as well, in that you don't have to particularly go one way or another. You can choose the type of mission you want to do. You can choose how you want to do it. You can use cannons. You can use missiles. You can use all sorts of things. So get rid of that. Yeah, got rid of him. There's also a variety of degrees of damage. So sometimes you lose your rear view mirror. Sometimes you lose some of your weapons. There's lots of different ways that you can get damaged, which is really exciting. So I'm going to get rid of him. Oh, and something's just hit me. So I'll miss the missile, which is my bad. So I'll get rid of that helicopter. Oh, I've got another missile in front of me. See if I can get rid of this guy. No, he doesn't want to seem to go. I've got another missile after me, which is not good. To ground again. So yes, I've got damaged again. Eventually, if I hit any more damage, then I will have a serious problem. I'm on an easy difficulty level, so I don't think there's going to be too much of a problem here. I'm also flying fairly slow. The slower you fly, the better it is for you to hit these things, but obviously then it gives them more chance to hit you, so it's a bit of a win-win. So I'm just trying to see if I destroyed them all yet. Nope, I haven't. When you destroy them, they clear off the map, so that's quite good. So it's the M for mother key for getting the map up. There's also some other keys as well I'll describe. The F1 key is the one that cycles through the weapons. So you press that, you get your flares, you get your air to ground, air to ship, air to air missiles. I'm wondering why this isn't. I'm about to go into normal territory here, so I'm just going to swing around. The map's quite cool as well. You know, it's not sophisticated, but it's great. Also, you've got to be careful because, as you can see on the map, my airport, my air base is near to them, and they can actually take over that. And you have two options when you wish to get more fuel or more weapons. You can go and land again, which is extremely difficult in this game, or you can refuel. So you meet a refueling plane, which if you look on the map is not there yet, but obviously when it's there, then I'll show you it. I'm just going to get rid of that. Oh, there's another one. I'm just going to get him in my sights. See if that does the job. There we are. And then the slight quirk with this game is that when you destroy enough of the ground forces, they all disappear regardless of whether there is any left. So you've got the two blocks. So if this next one is the last one, then the other one will disappear, which is fair enough, you know. I'll get destroyed. Just going to see, are we still there? And as you can see, there's some airplanes now that have come on the way. So yes, so I've got my hands full here. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to go to maximum thrust, and I'm going to go up. You need to go up to about 8,000 to have a good dogfight. Oops. Yes, as you can see, I've lost my rear camera now, which is really not good. The other better gamers than me may know that there's different ways to play this game, but I mainly find success from banking or just doing the loop. You know, there may be other ways of doing this game, but you know, so I'm just going to try and do the loop now. There, seconds. Not quite. Not quite. The other thing you've got to be careful when you're in these dogfights is that you don't crash into the ground. So I'm after him. If I'm going to get hit by a missile, then I'm going to get hit by a missile. So that's one gone. That's one gone. You can avoid a missile. You don't always have to drop a flare. Sometimes if you just do some fancy flying, you can do that as well. There were two sequels to this game. There was the first one was called Ace 2. That's very very imaginative name. And Ace 2 was more of it went in one direction, which is more about the dogfighting. So it was almost like a two-player split-screen game where you just played against another pilot, whether it be another player or the computer. I'm just going to nosedive to see if I can get rid of this last one. And then the second sequel was called Ace of Aces, and that was set in World War II, and that was very mission-based. So you selected what missions you wanted to undertake, you know, and it would be destroying V2 bombs, destroying aeroplanes, getting after ships and trains. And it was a lot more about completing your mission rather than just blowing things out the sky. They're both very good games, and they're both games that I'll feature at some point on here. But this is the one that seems to have stuck with fans of the genre. You know, it's tremendous. So I just need to get rid of this aeroplane now. Is it going to let me? I'm really struggling here. So it's behind me now, which is no good. So I'm going to do a loop. As you can see on the right hand side, it's telling me about the refill ship that's in my area. So I'll show you that on the map once I've got rid of this guy. He does not want to come here, does he? Oh, come on. Oh, dear. Come on. The whole point of the game is that you get blown up. as I say, I'm starting to run out of cannon, and if I run out of cannon, then I really do have a problem. But I might switch to air. See if I can get rid of the. Oops. I'm now at sea. So, okay. Well, that worked. And I'm going to pull up, see if I can get myself, avoid crashing. Yeah. And I've got him. Yay! How about that? So what I'm going to try and do now is land, which is easier said than done. So I just need to get through this. As you can see on the map, there's a refuel ship coming as well. I could, you could show you that as well. It's very tedious. That's the only issue with this game, twofold. There's two major issues with this. First of all, it can be really tedious how you actually play the game. So I've run out of missiles, I'm damaged, so I need to land. Landing is extremely difficult. It takes lots and lots of practice to do it. And in the olden days where you didn't have emulators and you couldn't just save your state and keep going and going, you had to just basically restart the game. It's a tough thing. The other thing is that playing for refueling again, it can be quite tedious, matching yourself up with it, getting yourself in the right position, because you've got to maintain the same speed and you've got to maintain the same, altitude. And so that can be quite tedious as well. So that's my major sort of criticism of this game, is that some of the things you need to do, it can be very, very difficult to do them. And also there's no margin for error. You either, if I get this wrong, which I'm going to get it wrong anyway because I'm going far too fast, and I'm far too high, so I'll come round and I'll have another go. If you get it wrong, you just blow up. That's it, gone, dead. You don't get any sort of chance to redeem yourself, which is pretty hard, especially on a game like this where you've just got to basically start again. The other thing is that you can sometimes forget to say, for example, in this case, lower your undercarriage, basically get the wheels out. And to actually be at the right speed and the right altitude, it takes a lot of adjusting. And, I've got another airplane after me. But I'll just see if I can get close to the landing strip, because when you get close to the landing strip, everything just disappears and you do get the chance to, so there's my landing strip. So I'm going to slow right down. I'm going to cut my thrust and get myself in the right. This reminds me of the flight simulator game on the Krypton Factor. The Krypton Factor, they used to put their contestants in a sort of Boeing flight simulator, and they used to sort of practice doing this. And it's quite cool, game within a game sort of thing. So I've missed it again. I'm just going to turn around and do it all again. See if I can do it before my fuel runs out. Am I close to it as well? Yeah, I should be okay. If I get this first time, it'll be an absolute miracle, because it is so tricky to do this right. I'm just going to drop myself down even further. So that the idea is you get as low and as slow as you possibly can. Then you press the U button, and the U button will drop your wheels. U for undercarriage, yeah. And then, then we sort of see where we go from that. So I'm going very, very slow. I'm actually going to save my state, just in case that doesn't happen. So I'm just about on the runway now. And then I'm going to get myself down to about as low as I can. That's 43. And then cut the speed right down. And then just lower my nose. And I forgot to do my undercarriage. Oh, let's restore that. Yes, oops-a-daisy. Right, so I'm slowing right down. And I'm getting myself nice and low. Let's let the wheels down. Let's see if I can remember it this time. Get myself down to about 10-ish. Up. Up. And yes, and I did it. Hoorah! Miracles do happen. So now my plane will get refueled, it'll get repaired, and I can pick what weapons I want to do, and I can go off and do it all again. So as you can tell in this video, I'm just going to look. we're sort of 15 minutes in already, and I've done the first mission, so you get some sort of idea of how much time it takes. But yes, it's a fab game. It's a really in-depth game. It's non-linear. You can do what you like. The speech is great. The movement obviously is good. The air fighting, not convinced. Plane to plane is very engaging because I think it's more by luck than by judgment. But the whole game itself, though, is a lot of fun, and especially with two people, because if you've got somebody else next to you who's doing all the guns and stuff, you can be, getting on with flying your plane or whatever it is that you want to do. So yes, so that's Ace. So as I say, I'll do Ace 2 and Ace of Aces in future playthroughs, because I do enjoy playing those two. Ace 2 is a little bit simplistic; it's more like an arcade game, but Ace of Aces is very very in depth and probably even merits a long play. So if you enjoyed the video, please leave a like. If you've got any questions, leave a comment, and don't forget to subscribe. Thank you.